Boo, everybody, and welcome back to the HabWrap. I am your host, Harry Rice. You are listening to the friendliest and funniest source for anything and everything related to the Montreal Canadiens. Tonight, the Canadiens played their first of a back-to-back against the Anaheim Ducks. We are going at it again tomorrow against the Los Angeles Kings. That one's the third. This was the second of our three California games. The California road trip, the yearly California road trip, finally happens late in the season. Fairly late in the season. The game tonight, again, was Anaheim. It was not actually that bad. It was very fun. After the... I don't really want to say onslaught of the first period, but the... outweightedness of the first period. Now, before we do anything, get into the lines, my notes, stats, and all that stuff, I want to get this a little bit out of the way because I want people to hear this. The people who come in, watch the first couple minutes of the podcast, and then they head out. I want everybody to hear this. Samuel Montembeault is not at all to blame for the way that this game went. Samuel Montembeault, as a matter of fact, is the reason we even get a point in the first place in this game. Samuel Montembeault made fantastic save after fantastic save, and once again, the blue line lets him down. The blue line, of which one of our defensemen is consistently getting 9 minutes a night. Mike Matheson doesn't do his job in his own zone. Poor Caden Gooley is forced to defend 8 2-on-1s a game, it feels like. Lane Hudson is usually pretty decent. Noah Dobson, tonight at least, unfortunately, really sucked in his own zone. And Alex Carrier is a guy who exists. He's there. Samuel Montembeault gets all this hate, and he's getting a lot tonight, if you look on Hab's Twitter, which is not real, by the way. Hab's Twitter, just like the rest of the internet, really is not real. But Samuel Montembeault is getting all this hate, and it's not doing anything. It's not helping anyone or helping anything. I get being frustrated with the team. Put the blame where it actually lies. It doesn't lie with the goaltending, because you'll notice both of our goaltenders suck ass stats-wise. It just so happens that one of them is better than the other, Monty Oberdebesch. For me, I think that with Samuel Montembeault, what does sending him hate signify? What do you think that's going to do? You know, nobody hates French hockey players more than French hockey fans. That's really, I think, what I'm trying to say. Because you look at it, if this were, I'm trying to think of a really American name. If this were, Bob Miston in net, this is the made-up name. If Bob Miston was in net, we'd be making excuses for him left, right, and center. The Canadiens seem completely fine. The Canadiens the fan base, seems completely fine rallying around Brendan Gallagher and, Josh Anderson, and most of the time, Mike Matheson. They'll defend them 24/7, no matter how trash they are. Andy, for stretches at this point, has been god-awful, including the past two games where he is single-handedly could be seen as the reason we don't get 2 points tonight. Brendan Gallagher has been invisible for, up to this point, 98% of the season. And Habs fans will gladly rally around Brendan Gallagher because, he brings veteranosity. He brings grit. No, he doesn't. We probably should have just dealt him for a 7th, and we would have been completely fine with that. Josh Anderson, horrible penalty last game. Stupid penalty last game. Cost us the game. Tonight, stupid penalty, undisciplined, and the fan base is completely quiet about him. Not a word said about Josh Anderson. Mike Matheson, the reason the game-tying goal goes in, spoilers, because he's not tying up his man in front, just lets him in there, lets him in the slot. Kreider tips it home to tie the game. And they're going to blame Montembeault. People are going to blame Samuel Montembeault because they're small-brained, because they don't realize the real people to blame. It's funny as well, because the trade deadline, all of the Canadiens fan base were saying, hey, Hugo, however you want to phrase it, Gordon, whatever, we need a defenseman, saying we need defense and a goaltender. And yet, after the deadline, they're completely fine just shitting on Montembeault. They're not going to go back after the blue line. That at the deadline, they were saying, blue line is trash, it can't defend, we need a defenseman. But then all of a sudden, after the first game post the deadline, it's suddenly only the goaltender's fault? I don't know. These people seem extremely small-brained. The people like Ghoulie W on Twitter, who will continue to blame the goaltender, instead of looking at the real issues on this team, such as the fourth line and the defensive depth. The actual defensive depth, not the, you know what I mean, not the offensive, defensive depth. You get what I mean. So yeah, I just want to say this. Samuel Montembeault is not at all the reason for why this game is lost. Yes, there have been points of the season where he has been pretty bad, but not every single game that is lost by the Canadiens with him in net is his fault. Matter of fact, I think a majority of them are not his fault. I think to blame the goaltender is incredibly easy to do. Not just for the Canadiens fan base, for any fan base to do. I think it takes someone who's actually smart to look at the game, to read the game, and be able to pinpoint, okay, that's not the goaltender, it's this guy. Oh, this guy comes out a little bit early. That's his fault. That's not on a goaltender. I think it takes someone who's actually smart to be able to look at the game and realize what goals are on a goaltender and what goals are on a defenseman, or on a forward, or on someone in general just leaving a man open, and okay, that's not really anyone to blame. Really just a really good shot or really good passing to generate the goal. I think that there's firstly, I do believe that there's some goals where there's just no one to blame. Good shots and shit. Alex Ovechkin, for example. I forget if it was the first or second goal he scored in the game against us a couple weeks ago. Just skates in through the slot, just a perfect timing on him, and just it goes home. So yeah, I don't think Samuel Montembeault should be getting blame after this game. I think that if you want to blame anybody, look over the highlights. Wait a little while. Don't just spew bullshit for the sake of saying something, Because to me, I see people talking about, oh, Sam Montembeault sucks. Montembeault's the reason that this game sucks. Not the reason the game. He's the reason hockey sucks. Okay, no, I haven't seen anybody go that far. Thankfully. Jesus. But, he's the reason the Canadiens suck. And it's like, okay, well, you're small-brained. You don't know what you're talking about. And you clearly are very emotional and irrational to just jump to that conclusion instead of watching the game, maybe waiting a little while and actually commenting on it once you've seen who actually is to blame for each goal. So, yeah, I do believe that I'm superior and smarter to, I would say, about 95% of people who constantly blame Montembeault. I think there's a margin of error of about 5% for people who don't like Montembeault to actually, actually be accurate, which again, they're very rarely, if ever, right about how bad Montembeault is. So yeah, Montembeault is not to blame. He made some fantastic saves, which we of course will talk about along with the rest of the game. So I want to get that out of the way. I more than likely will be titling this review after Montembeault. So yeah, I'm hoping that people click on that, and yeah. So with that being said, let's get into the actual game itself. We got the lines, of course, my notes, of course, which are always here every game, because why wouldn't they be? And then we get into the stats, as always, if you guys are new here, if there is anybody new here, I should say. So yeah, let's get into that, and let's let the Monty haters seethe in the comments, and thank you for the support. Much appreciated. The open lines for the Canadiens were Caufield, Suzuki, Slafkovsky, Newhook, Kapanen, Demidov, Bolduc, Evans, Doc, and Anderson, Deneau, Gallagher. On the blue line, Matheson, Gooley, Hudson, Dobson, Jack-Eye, Carrier. That's right, Jack-Eye is back in the lineup. That is the only skater change in the lineup. In net, like I said, it's Samuel Montembeault. He gets the start, and Jakub Dobeš backs him up because he'll be playing tomorrow in LA. Saturday night in hockey. Saturday night, honestly, it should be Saturday night in hockey. That's actually a pretty good name, but it is technically hockey night in Canada. Again, the Canadiens aren't in Canada, but you know what I mean. It's a Saturday night, which firstly means, of course, Cole Caufield is going to score. I say that, and he's not going to. My apologies for that. But the Friday game, we'll see if he does score. Speaking of scoring, the opening lines for the Ducks were Kreider, or as I put in my lines, Crittier. Perfect. But Kreider, Carlson, Gauthier, Killorn, McTavish, Seneca, Vetrano, Paling, Harkins, and Johnston, Washi, and Vial. On the blue line, no John Carlson. He was acquired by the Ducks last night after the trade at 1 in the morning of the trade deadline. Obviously, he would not be in the lineup because he's still kind of got to get to Anaheim. So instead, it would be Lacombe Trouba, Zellweger Gudez, and Michikov Moore. That is not John Moore. That is Ian Moore. So pretty easy who's coming out of the line. Pretty simple who's coming out of the lineup for John Carlson. It's obviously Olin Zellweger. No, obviously it's Ian Moore. Obviously, Lucas Dostal gets the start net for the Ducks, and Ville Husso backs him up as he's been doing. In the first period, the Ducks score. 20 seconds in, I believe it was 21 seconds in, Trouba scored while I was flipped to Vancouver, Chicago. I didn't realize the game was starting as quick as it was. We were watching that game for a minute because, firstly, it was on commercial, and secondly, the Montreal game. We weren't watching Chicago-Vancouver for the commercial. You know what I mean. But secondly, there was an e-bug situation because Spencer Knight got sick today, and there was a backup, an e-bug. So, unfortunately, I don't believe they did put him in. However, that was always fun to see. So, yeah. We kind of flipped between the other games during commercials either way. So 20 seconds in, they score. Wait, Marty St. Louis looking at a possible offside, and he takes his timeout. And eventually, he's going to challenge it. And on the replay, it looks just offside. So they are reviewing it indeed. And after a good while of reviewing, it comes back and, yep, it's offside. A good challenge for Marty St. Louis. So the Canadiens get lucky early on. Dobeš doesn't allow a goal on... Montembeault doesn't allow a goal on the first shot because his blue line sucks. There we go. And it's a 1-0 Ducks anyway. Yeah. This one genuinely sucks. It's a cross-creaser. Monty tries to dive for it, but it's no go as Cutter Gauthier puts it home. Poor Caden Gooley. Can't do anything on the rush to stop that. That genuinely sucks. It makes sense that Mike Matheson's out there for a goal against, as he would be for, I believe, 8 goals tonight. Funny that, again, you don't hear any Canadiens fans complaining about him. So, yeah, it's 1-0. Poor Gooley has to defend that. He can't. Gauthier scores 39 seconds in. His 32nd of the year. He scores from Leo Carlson and Chris Kreider. The Canadiens, they end up pressing, and, we score. A minute and 1 in. Both teams have scored a goal on the first shot. I guess that means Dobeš is one of the worst goalies in the league, right? Yeah, definitely. That's Canadiens fans' logic. So yeah, Nick Suzuki, his 20th of the year, 70th point of the year. Hell yeah, Zooks. The captain has been very good. Remember early in the season when we thought that he wasn't good? Yeah, I do. That's Canadiens fans for you. Suzuki buries a one-timer in the slot off a nice board battle. Some good shit. He scores from Caufield and Slavkovsky again. Just a minute, 1 second in. Bolduc has a look, but that's just wide. Monty makes the first save of the game between both goalies. He ends up holding. Monty then makes another pair of saves. He holds everything early after that first goal, getting a little bit confident in himself. And spoiler, he would get pretty confident. Habs then go to a power play early. Carlson gets called for a hook on Gooley 3 minutes in. Demidov has a one-timer wide. Demidov has a one-timer wide. The Ducks then go offside, and we score. Lane Hudson from the line. Nice bump up. He risks it, and it gets past Lucas Dostal, a long-range shot. I guess that means Dostal is pretty trash, doesn't it? Canadiens take the lead at 3:33. Hudson scores from Slafkovsky and Suzuki, so as soon as he gets 70, he gets 71 as well. Nice on Suzuki. Hudson, double-digit goals, beauty of a shot. He makes it, like I said, 2-1 Canadiens. Habs are 1-for-1 on the power play. The Ducks' fourth line press. The Ducks' fourth line was really good tonight. That Johnston, Washi, Vial line. They were very good. They were hitting a lot. They weren't afraid to forecheck, some back checking. They were quite good, actually. I was a little bit surprised by that. I would not think Jeffrey Vial at, 28 years old would turn into a decent NHL fourth liner. Good on him. Ducks fourth line press, like I said. Washi goes to Johnston in the slot, but the shot is wide. Zellweger has a chance just stopped from the line. Habs are letting the Ducks take some long shots. Probably the best case scenario. Slav then has a long shot gloved by Dostal, and the Habs go to a penalty kill at about 7 minutes. Doc is called for a trip. The Ducks end up cycling. There's a pass out of the zone. They have to reset. Gauthier has a one-timer, but that's saved by Montembeault. There's another one. The rebound off the stick. Jesus. Montembeault. That was probably the best sequence of the night. The best sequence of saves for sure. Montembeault with great saves there. For some reason, I thought this was in the second period. But yeah, first period, Montembeault played great. The Ducks press, but the Gauthier shots are all that they end up getting. 3 of those. Cutter Gauthier as well was really good all night long. That first line entirely was very solid tonight overall. Canadiens are 1-for-1 on the penalty kill tonight. And then they score a short while after. Gudes ties it up. Sorry. Gudas ties it up. That one is definitely a goal that Monty will definitely want back. It's a long-range shot. It's one of those that just somehow beats Samuel Montembeault to the net. I guess to the back of the net. Yeah, so it ends up beating him. It comes right after a shot. I wanted to say it was Ryan Strome, but no, he got traded today as well. It's just one of those beats him. It's a really nice shot, but yeah, Monty would probably want that one back. However, consider that payback for the really damn good shots that the Ducks should have scored on during the power play. Gudas with his second goal of the year. He scores from Vetrano. Only has 4 assists this year. I think he's been hurt for most of this year. And Paling at 11:56, so just about 8 minutes left. Paling had a good chance, but there's a pad save from Montembeault. Goes back to Gudas. Sorry. Paling had a good Paling had a good save. That's when he goes back to Gudas. There's no screen. That one is a bad goal to allow with 8 minutes left. The way my notes were, it made it seem like it was a new note. So yeah, that's what I want to say. Johnston ends up poking at Monty. He and Gooley shove each other after a little bit. Anaheim, after the Canadiens made it 2-1, really took over this game. I think the Canadiens at one point were stuck on 3 shots. They'd end up getting a 4th one. But I would also say the Canadiens got very, very lucky tonight that Dostal also allowed some soft ones. Because quite frankly, without the 2 soft ones that Dostal allows, this game should have been a 10-3 win for Anaheim. This should have been a blowout, but thankfully Montembeault kept us in it, and again, gets us a point. There's a couple minutes without any shots. Monty actually has a nice pass to send it out. The Habs eventually turn it over. Demidov gets shoved from behind into the boards. Thankfully, he gets right up. A little shaken up, but should have been a penalty there for sure. Ducks end up icing one with 1:17 left. There's a Hudson shot, but he doesn't get all of it. It's still nearly tipped on the as it passes by the net. The Ducks do get some passes, but they just can't score in the final minute. The shots are 12-4 for the Ducks, and it's a 2-2 tie game after 20 minutes of play. In the second period, early on, there's a save from Monty on a long-range chance. Paling almost breaks in, but some good sticks. The Ducks were awake early. Ducks end up icing a puck, carry off a draw, looked for a tip, but that ends up wide. Ducks do press, Habs pressure the other way. Bolduc in front off of a Doc look, but that gets saved, and the Canadiens go to a power play again at 3:43. Gudas is called for a cross-check to the face of Doc. It's called as an interference, though, I believe. Ducks end up clearing immediately. Monty has a nice pass up the ice while the Ducks change. The Canadiens tried to get a break, some type of 2-on-1, but unfortunately just couldn't time it right. The Ducks end up going up on a 3-on-1, but it does get broken up. Back the other way, Slav finds Caufield on a 2-on-1, but Dostal with a very nice save there. Second unit, Newhook right in front, and another diving pad save by Dostal. Very solid period for Dostal. If he wasn't in net, this game probably could have ended about 8-6 for the because it wouldn't have gone to shootout. 8-5 for the Canadiens. It could have gone one way or the other, and unfortunately, it just went the bad guys' route. Eventually, spoiler. Habs are though 1 for 2 on the power play tonight. There's a puck played with a high stick in the Habs zone. Good pace in the second period, and again, Habs go to a power play. Trouba gets called for a cross check on Doc, on Gallagher. Sorry, 7 minutes in. That's just a stupid penalty to take. Habs do get a good cycle. There's an eventual chance for Slav, but another great save for Lucas Dostal. Habs can't get much either. Ducks are able to clear the zone, and the Habs are 1 for 3 on the power play tonight. Ducks end up icing a puck off of a battle against the boards. Anderson and Ian Moore get a little bit engaged, and he ends up shoving him as he goes off. Trouba hits Newhook, I believe it was Newhook, and Bolduc takes a run at him in return. That's fun. And then Josh Anderson decides to show Canadian fans why we should have traded him for a first 3 years ago. Because he ends up taking a run at Radko Gudas while the ref is looking right at him. Gudas doesn't have the puck, mind you. So Josh Anderson throws a check on Gudas, who naturally goes down because he's not expecting a hit. And they call Andy 2 for interference. It's a clear as day penalty, one of the easiest that the NHL officials could ever call. And the Ducks score. 11 seconds in, Lacombe has a shot through traffic that ends up in the back of the net. The Ducks take a 3-2 lead on that one there. There was, three bodies in front screening Montembeault. You gotta try and either clear traffic or get in front of that fucker and block the shot. Lacombe, like I said, gets his 7th of the year. He scores from Gauthier and Kreider at 12:15. Habs are 1 for 2, I believe. 1 for 2 on the penalty kill tonight. Habs do cycle. There's a good one-timer by Dobson, but that's over the net and ends up all the way back in his own zone. Demidov eventually gets on a break. Dostal goes down, and he still makes the pad save. The demigod just couldn't lift the puck. If he did, that's in the net. This game is a whole different story if Demidov ties it up right there. Very funny that Canadiens fans don't want to blame Demidov for missing that. Not saying you should, but just, it's always fun pointing out these morons' hypocrisy. The Ducks' fourth line has a great shift in the zone. There's a good puck battle as Jack ends up cross-checking Johnson a couple times. Would have liked to see them go at it tonight. I think that would have been entertaining, but unfortunately, we just got a pretty fun hockey game instead. Josh Anderson then completely misses a hit on Chris Kreider. Almost takes out Brendan Gallagher. Jesus, this guy sucks dick. Beckett Seneca, not the good kind either. Beckett Seneca has a look, but there's a pad save. The rebound ends up getting held, and a small scrum of shoves ensues. Just a small kerfuffleage, if you will. The Ducks end up pressing hard off a draw. A Hab passes right to Leo Carlson. Monty makes a blocker save. 3 in a row saves right there for Samuel Montembeault. Some very solid ones there. Monty then makes a very good save on Alex Killorn on a 2-on-1. As Killorn looks for a dangle, Monty sticks with him, though. The Canadiens were being dominated in the game up to this stage. Monty is legitimately the reason this wasn't 7-2 at this stage, as it probably could and should have been. The Habs do rush. Doc has a shot blocker down. Bolduc ends up tapping at the held rebound, but the Ducks say, "Hey, look, we know your drought. Just don't shoot. They take pity on him basically. The third line has a push. Bolduc has 2 good chances after a puck gets poked loose. Dostal makes 2 good saves on those looks. Off a draw, there's a Hudson wrister glove down. Final minutes, really, there wouldn't be much there. The shots are 20. 25-18 for the Ducks, and they have a 3-2 lead headed into the third and final period. In the third period, the Ducks score a unfortunately bad Caufield turnover. Hudson ends up adding to it. He tries to get the puck back but can't. He tries to hustle but gives up. Dobson with some lazy defense as well to try and defend. Honestly, very surprised. That's the first time in, 30 games that Dobson has had any little bit of, real noticeable bad defense? Islanders fans really just hated on this guy, it seems like, because he's not been bad defensively at all, really, this season. Just aside from, a few brief flashes, really not that bad. Regardless, he unfortunately does have bad defense there. Kreider cross creases to Leo Carlsson, and he makes it 4-2, 35 seconds in. Carlsson with his 21st of the year, like I said, he scores from Kreider and Jacob Trouba. So Trouba, I believe, with a 2-assist game. No, just one, actually, surprisingly. And for those keeping count, that is now a 3-assist night for Chris Kreider. The Habs can't control the puck in the Duck zone. Eventually, Jack has a nice check. Gauthier with a good deke. He tries to get past Hudson, but the shot gets saved. Habs find a rush. Caufield tries to pass to a wide-open goalie, but that misses. Matheson almost turns the puck over at the line. It is eventually turned over. Suzuki does have a nice stick to break up a speedy Leo Carlsson, though. Habs then ice the puck. They couldn't connect with passes tonight. That was really the big thing. Until about 8 minutes in, the Canadiens' passes were really, really sloppy. There's a reason that they have, even though they have 18 shots on net, about 4 of those were pretty good and all came in one sequence, it felt like. Habs, like I said, ice the puck. They can't connect with passes. The Ducks go offside off of a clear to center. At 8 minutes in, the Habs just suck. Remember that in a second. McTavish and Matheson get tied up after a near-scoring chance for the Ducks' fourth line. And the Canadiens score. The Ducks get called for a high stick. The draw is to the left of Dostal. It's not a power play, but playing the puck with a high stick. The Habs win it. It gets over to Caufield, who one-times it, and we've got a game. Interestingly, it's 4-3, 8:41 in. Caufield scores his 36th goal of the season. I was going to say 36th of the night. That would have been awesome. He scores from Dobson and Hudson. That's always fun to see. The Habs were slowly starting to get momentum after the goal. A couple chances, but there's nothing too impactful. There's a Jack-eye wrister from the line that gets held. Gallagher starts a small scrum. The Habs try to press off a turnover. Their top line is sent out against the Ducks' fourth line. Hudson looks for a deflection, but just can't get one. The Ducks end up icing a puck with about 8:50 left, and we score. With about 8:40 left, I should say. We score. Carrier gets a second chance. There's a shot from Evans that gets bounced. Doc tries to get it, but he can't. Carrier ends up with it. He wrists it and puts it home. A beauty of a snapshot. Carrier's 7th of the year. There was some stat they pulled up. I think it's goals for defensemen since the new year. Carrier has 6, which is really surprising. It might have been goals since the new year, since 2026 started. But either way, Carrier is up there with Makar and Quinn Hughes. And I saw that and I thought, wow. I would not have thought that. So, yeah, props to Carrier. He's had a bit of a hot stretch for the past 2 months. In terms of defenseman scoring goes, I think we can both say that. Carrier scores. He gets it from Evans and Bolduc with 8:13 left. You love to see it. And then we score again a minute and 20 seconds later, a minute 17. Dobson has a shot. It's redirected by Caufield. I mentioned that Caufield doesn't deflect goals in that one goal he deflected. And now it's 3 in 5 games that he's done it. I think Cole is finally realizing that, hey, tipping in shots is almost easier than just shooting. So he's going to start tipping a lot more. Cole has a legit shot at 50, by the way. I just wanted to point that out. Habs take the 5-4 lead right off a draw, by the way. Hudson finds Dobson, and that's where Caufield tips it. So it's Caufield from Dobson and Hudson. Pretty simple. Canadiens get the lead with 6:56 left in the game. All they got to do is hold, play good defense, and just let Monty see pucks, and the Canadiens are going to win this one. The Ducks' fourth line gets sent out, as I mentioned earlier, they've had a solid game. Habs do look depressed. Danault ends up getting held. There's no call, which is legitimately understandable. I didn't want it called, but I get why they didn't anyways. You don't call a penalty unless it's super obvious late in the game like this. Unless it's on the Canadiens. That's not foreshadowing, thankfully. Doc with a nice shift, killing off time behind the net. Also trying to set something up. Good puck handling. Really nice staying on the puck about 15-20 seconds. Unfortunately, Canadiens just don't end up getting a scoring chance off that. Ducks ice a puck with 4:04 left. They were being pressured by the Canadiens. The Habs, after I said they sucked and they scored seconds later, they've really controlled the game. They really bunkered down. They really played good. They had to have played good to take the lead like that. You don't just get lucky. The Habs end up icing a puck in return after a failed breakout. Ducks look to set up. Carlson ends up breaking in. There's a chance broken up. Dostal goes to the bench with about 1:50 left. They do set up. There's an eventual pass that ends up coming out of the Canadiens zone. They come back. They cycle. And they score. Chris Kreider, right in front with a 4-point game. He ties it up. Mike Matheson refuses to, again, tie his man up. It's a 5-5 tie game, just like that, with 41.6 seconds left in the game. Kreider gets his 21st of the year. He's had a very nice rebound from his last couple years in New York. He scores from Trouba and Jackson Lacombe. Well, I didn't realize that the C in his name is also capitalized. I didn't know that. Yeah, so the Ducks tie it. The Canadiens with I don't know if you could say a meltdown, but definitely a lapse in judgment, if you will, in their defensive mindset. So, it's a 5-5 tie game. The shots are 33-23 for the Ducks. We're going to extra time. In overtime, the Canadiens win the draw. Hudson sets up, but ends up sending it back to Montembeault. Demidov, fresh on the ice, he gets on a break, and the shot is gloved by Dostal. Really nice save there. Demidov really is going to be haunted by that one, probably. He ends up settling it, and ends up playing it, too. Slafkovsky gets a good look. There's a pad save. Dostal on the attempted crossover by Slafkovsky. Evans ends up winning a draw off a hold. He heads off for Demidov. Slav has speed, but the backhander is deflected out of play. I really like seeing Slav get confident like that, looking for very, very tight spaces where he could shoot. Very, very confident. I like that with Slafkovsky. Doc for the Ducks. No, the Ducks push off of an aggressive Hudson rush. Seneca looks to break in, but a really nice Caufield back check to stop that. Habs then go the other way. Caufield loses an edge, but a nice pass to the boards to prevent what would have probably been a 2-on-1 for the Ducks. And the Canadiens get a power play. Carlson suddenly is on a break, but they're calling the penalty. It is a trip on the play with 2:01 left in overtime. Olin Zellweger's called for the trip on Lane Hudson. A little bit surprised they would call that, but obviously as a Canadiens fan, I will gladly take a free power play in overtime, especially with, again, 2:01 left. You're sending the Canadiens on the power play for the rest of overtime. They have to score on this. There's no way that the Ducks are going to luck into a shootout, right? So we go to the shootout. No. Paling nearly breaks in shorthanded. There's a good back check, again, by Caufield. The Habs end up going offside. They cycle it. Demidov has a near one-timer, but he holds it, goes across to Caufield. The shot gets held by Dostal with 1:02 left. Suzuki ends up going 5-hole. There's a good save there by Dostal again, and Gudaz clears it. Slav has a one-timer, but the stick breaks. Demidov, there's a pass over to Demidov, but that's blocked with a second left. Habs are 1 for 4 on the power play tonight. The shots now 33-28 for the Ducks. That's right. They didn't have a single shot in the overtime. We're still tied 5-5 going to a shootout. In said shootout, Anaheim elects to shoot first. Their first shooter is Leo Carlson. Smooth skating, but a backhander just misses the net as Monty stays with him. Habs' first shooter is Caufield, who moves in a bit slow. And there's a good glove by Dostal, who goes a good glove on Caufield, who tries to go far side. Seneca, the second shooter for the Ducks, he goes forehand, backhand, good pad save by Montembeault. Suzuki comes in again, he's slow, tries to go 5-hole, and he gets saved. Nick Suzuki is 0 for 16 in his last 16 shootout attempts. Jesus. Mason McTavish, third for the Ducks. Kuznetsov, speed, slows it right down. I'm very worried. He puck handles and goes wide. No need for Monty to even look for the shot. Doc, the third shooter for the Canadiens, he tries to deke out Dostal, but gets saved on the 5-hole again. Yes, that is right. You heard me right. Kirby Dach is out before either of Ivan Demidov or Lane Hutson. Or Juraj Slafkovsky even. For the Ducks, it's Cutter Gauthier. He has a shot, but just flat out beats Monty. The kid is pretty good. Very solid shot for Gauthier. Demidov, for the Canadiens, he has to tie it. He comes in slow, goes 5-hole, and he scores. Tie game into the 5th round. Chris Kreider for the Ducks. He comes in and gets tripped by Emelin, where he runs into Montembeault. No, not this time. He does go blocker side. He tries to fake a backhand, but Monty sticks with him. For Hutson, with a chance to win it, tries to puck handle, but a poke by Dostal, a little bit ballsy there. That ends that very quickly. For the Ducks, Alex Killorn comes in. He's in quickly, and the shot over the blocker, or at least it looked like it. It actually looked like Monty thought it was going to go over the blocker, or go towards the blocker, ends up finding the hole between the blocker and his body, and it just gets home. That's a very well-placed shot by Killorn, and yeah, who is it? It's Oliver Kapanen, surprisingly, over Juraj Slafkovsky, who gets the 6th chance for the Canadiens, a chance to tie it. He tries to go 5-hole, and it's saved, so the Canadiens end up losing after outshooting the Ducks again 5-0 in the shootout, or in the overtime. The final score is 6-5 Anaheim. Again, the final shot's 33-28. The shootout, I think the best way to look at it is that it's basically a tie and just roll the dice on who gets the extra point. That's basically what a shootout is anyways. I don't even think you can take the shootout into much consideration in terms of how a team's playing well or not. Because the shootout doesn't exist in the playoffs, so it's kind of irrelevant, aside from, again, roll the dice, who gets an extra point. So yeah, the Ducks win it. A very fun, very back-and-forth game, in terms of the score at least. Again, the Ducks were very dominant for about 40 minutes of the game. The Canadiens have to come out tomorrow. They have to play in front of Dobesh. Then again, I would honestly like if they showed the same effort they showed tonight, so to see how quick the Monty haters rush to defend their king in net. Regardless, again, Monty is the reason that we get a point in this game. No clue how the Canadiens didn't score on their power play, but a broken stick and a well-placed stick to break up the one-timer over to Demidov was pretty good explanation. So yeah, that is going to do it for the actual game. We're going to do the stats, and then we are going to get on out of here. So yeah, who leads the... Come on, it's Nick Suzuki. He leads the Habs in points with 20 goals and 51 assists for 71 points, including 2 goals and 4 assists for 6 points in his last 3 games. Props to big Nick Suzuki. Cole Caufield's got 37 goals to lead the Canadiens. I believe he is second in the NHL. I'm pretty sure tied with Nathan McKinnon. Along with 26 assists for 63 points. He has 5 goals and 6 points in his last 4 games. Just insane. Lane Hutson has 11 goals, 52 assists for 63 points. He has 4 points in his in 2 games this month. Love to see that. Juraj Slafkovsky. He has 21 goals and 28 assists for 49 points. Ivan Demidov has 13 goals, 35 assists for 48 points in his rookie season. Very, very solid. Definitely going to be in the running for the Calder, you would have to think. I don't think he wins it. I think that's probably going to Beckett Seneca, but Again, we shall see. Noah Dobson with 12 goals and 30 assists for 42 points. Oliver Kapanen, 19 goals. He's still stuck on that. Can't get 20, apparently. 13 goals and 32 assists. 32 points. Mike Matheson with 6 goals and 26 assists for 32 points. Zach Bolduc, 10 goals, 15 assists, 25 points. Say it with me, boys. 23-game goalless drought. Josh Anderson, 12 goals, 8 assists, 20 points. Brendan Gallagher, 6 goals, 14 assists, 20 points. Alexander Texier, in the games that he's played, he's been a healthy scratch again recently. Along with Alex Carrier, they both have 7 goals, 12 assists for 19 points. Jake Evans with 8 goals, 9 assists for 17 points. He has 3 assists in 2 games this month. Shout out Jake Evans. Alex Newhook with 8 goals and 8 assists for 16 points. He has 2 goals and 2 assists in 4 games since his return. Very nice to see. We will ignore the -3 tonight. Kirby Dach has 8 goals and 5 assists for 13 points. Phil Deneau, 4 goals, 6 assists for 10 points. Jaden Struble with 9 assists. Sammy Blaine, this time with the NHL, with the Canadiens, I should say. He's back in Laval. Had 2 goals, 3 assists for 5 points. Joe Veleno with 2 goals and 2 assists for 4 points and a 10-game pointless drought. Kaden Guhle with a goal and 4 assists for 5 points. Arbor Jacki with a goal and an assist for 2 points. And say with me, a 24-game pointless drought. Owen Beck in his time with the NHL had a goal, a 7-game pointless drought before he got sent back down. Patrick Laine, who is unfortunately still hurt. Florian Jacki and Jared Davidson all have an assist as well. Arbor Jacki also, of course, leads the Canadiens with 7 fights. Josh Anderson and Jaden Struble each have 2. Kirby Dach, Joe Veleno, Kaden Guhle, and Florian Jacki each have a fight as well this season. In the net, Jakub Dobeš leads the way with a 19-6-4 record, a 3.03 goals against average, and an 8.89 save percentage. Samuel Montembeault has a 10-8-4 record, a 3.43 goals against average, and an 8.72 save percentage. And Jacob Fowler, in his time with the NHL, as again, he's back in Laval. He had a 4.42 record, a 2.62 goals against average, and a 9.02 save percentage, along with the lone shutout for the Montreal Canadiens this year. So yeah, again, that is going to do it for this episode of the HabWrap. Thank you all so much for watching. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on Spotify, Amazon, wherever else you might be listening, hit the follow button, and also don't forget to share the podcast with anybody who you think might enjoy it, such as a fellow Montreal Canadiens fan, a hockey fan who's maybe looking for a Montreal Canadiens podcast, or someone who you think just might enjoy listening to some fat kid from Quebec talk about the Montreal Canadiens for half an hour after every game. So yeah, that is again going to do it for this episode of HabWrap. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Harry Rice. And always remember, no matter how good we were like last year, how pretty good we are like this year, or how fantastic we'll be in the future, go Habs go. Allez Montreal. And say with me, everybody, c'est la boo.